Good morning, everyone. Welcome to beautiful Toronto. Just had to give you a little bit of the background of how gorgeous we have it here. How lucky we are we live in this spectacular cold climate. And we're ready to start our class. You want to open the door? Thank you. Here's our special guard. I just open the door here. Who protects our school every day. Okay, just ring the bell, okay? Hi, just trying to get into my building. Okay. Good morning, Ava. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Carol. I'm going to get started in 2 minutes. Just had to show you a little bit of our spectacular weather in Toronto. What's it like by you? Anybody in a nice warm climate? All right, well, it looks like we're going to have snow for a couple of months. But thank you, Hashem, for everything else. And we're going to get started. So before we start that, we're going to start off with saying Tehillim. And if everybody can just put down some names. Giselle, if you want to put down some names of people we should say Tehillim for, we'll do that. Okay, and I mentioned this morning that I would love it if everybody could open up the Siddur and say extra prayers in the morning. Moda'ani, Shema, Amida, whatever you have time for. The soldiers are begging us to daven, and I think it's the least we can do for them. So I'm going to ask all of you together. We're going to say Tehillim now, and it's chapter 20. We have Rachel Bas Vilyan, Moshe Eliezer ben Devorah Esther. Anyone else need Tehillim said? Devorah Bas Rezela. Hi, good morning, Linda. Good morning, Sophie. Good morning, Kim. Okay, I see all the names here. Let's go. Lamnatseach Mizmar LeDavid. Yancha Adonai biyom tzara. Yisagefcha Shem Elohei Yaakov. Yishlach Ezrecha Mikodesh. Umitzian Yisadeka. Yizkar kol mechasecha v'lascha yidash nesela. Yitein lecha chalavecha v'chol atzascha yimalei. Nirana b'shirasecha uv'shem Eloheinu nidgo. Yimalei Adonai kol mashalasecha. Ati yadati ki yoshi Adonai mishicho. Yanei mishmekacha begvuras yesh hayaminai. Eila v'recha ve'eila v'asusim. V'nachnu b'shem Adonai. Eloheinu naskir. Heimakar v'nafolu v'nachnu kamnu v'nisadad. Adonai Hoshea HaMelech Hanenu V'yom Karenu. So we have Moshe ben Shena, Callan ben Barbara, Chava bas Miriam, Chaya bas Hannah, Moshe ben Shena. Okay, we're going to do today's class. Will be a merit of all of these wonderful people who need a refuah shlema. And of course, we beg Hashem to please protect our dear soldiers who are fighting this war for you and me. Hashem should protect them. We all say these blessings every day. We say so many tefillot. Hashem should please give them hatzlacha. We have Chaim David ben Ita, Chaya bat Hannah. We have a lot of refuah shleimas today. And we're giving tzedakah. Everyone feel free to give tzedakah. We already said Tehillim. Wow, Rachel Bas Vivian refuah shlema. We need Mashiach to come. There are so many people that need brachot. Wow. Today's term that we're going to use in Tanya is a term that I use all the time. So we decided that every week we're going to learn another pasuk, idea, philosophy of Tanya and expound on it. So this week I want to talk about something very powerful. It's one of my most favorite psukim, parts of the Tanya that the Alter Rebbe teaches us. And he tells us this. Every Jew has a chelek elaka mimal mamash. I'm going to say it again. I want you to write it down because I want you to use this word, use this phrase when you're thinking about your children, your grandchildren, another Jew. What is it about a Jew that we love? Why are Jews around the world going crazy about what's going on in Israel? I mean, most of us do not know the names of the hostages. We don't know the names of the soldiers. until someone shares it. We know I have an uncle, I have a nephew, but there are thousands, and yet each one to me is like a brother and a son. What is it? So the Alter Rebbe says that every Jew is precious and beloved because they have a chelik elokam imamam, which have a piece of Hashem. But I want to take it on the next level. You know the story they tell you about this mother who was sending her child off to school the first day. And she takes him to the bus. She says, Yingale, today's your first day of school. And Sadakol, I know you are going to be the best. Now, I'm going to listen to my matak. If anybody starts up with you during recess, I don't want you to get back. You are my tzaddik, my zisa yetzer tov, you're my chelik elokah, you are my everything. Right, Yingale? Right, Sadakol? And the sweet little boy, yes, 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 mommy. And they kiss each other goodbye at the bus. And she sends him off. 4 o'clock comes, she goes back to the street corner. The little boy comes off the bus. And she says, tell me, Zizkite, what did you learn in school today? And he says, Mommy, I learned my name was David. We call them Zizkites and Yingale and Sadikol and Beinani. Every word we can think of. Matek and Yummy. But our children, when they get out into the world, they realize, oh no, my name is just David. So I want to talk today about how each one of us can infuse this chelik elokah, the awareness that our children should know wherever they walk in the world, and by extension, we have to know. We are walking out in the world today, and I travel a lot, so I'm in and out of airports, and I feel the atmosphere is different. Specifically when I'm walking with my husband, who's Baruch Hashem, very identifiable as a Jew, a committed Jew. He'll stand in there and say, put on his talis and tefillin if he has to at 7 o'clock in the morning. And there's a mood. But I have this, because I learned Tanya, and I know my value, and we know our value, I walk in as a princess. Wherever I go, I walk around as a princess. I don't even look at people's remarks or expressions. To me, I know who I am. I'm a piece of Hashem on this world to accomplish and fulfill my tafkid and bring godliness to the world. So if there are anti-Semitic things or negativity around me, I ignore it. To me, it's like dirt. I don't give it attention. But it's something I believe that was instilled with me as a child, but more so by watching the Rebbe and listening to the Rebbe by Farbrengen. And one of the stories that the Rebbe shared, that the Alter Rebbe had shared, was the concept that every Jew is a Ben Yachid. What does it mean, a Ben Yachid? If you know what the word Ben Yachid is, feel free to put in the comments. What is a Ben?
An only child.
Right, so Ben Yachid is an only child. Bat Yechida is the female version of a Ben Yachid. That we are a Bat Yechida. And the Alter Rebbe says that every Jew, in God's eyes, is as loved and cherished as if he was born to older parents in their old age. So someone who waited 20, 25 years, they finally gave birth to a child. Think for a second, meditate on that love that parent has. I gave birth to my child, Baruch Hashem, within 2 years. But my love to my child should be and is, I hope, I know, like a Ben Yachid. As if I waited 30 years. Imagine that love. Think about that. And this is how Hashem looks at each one of us. That we are the Ben Yachid. So we're that little sweet David that's going to the bus every morning, and the mommy is Zizkite, honey bunch, yummy chunk, cutie pie, precious, satik, gadol, why? The mother doesn't have time to say David. The expressions she uses to describe her Ben Yachid is overwhelming. So we know that. The question is, do our children know that? I'm going to stop for a second. I want you to think about that. Does your child know because life is busy, life is hectic. There's carpool, there's breakfast, there's lunches, there's homework, there's laundry, there's shoveling the snow, cleaning the cars, getting everyone. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. But when your child goes to school in the morning, does he know he is going with this immense love that's powering him into school every day? So just think for a second. I'll give you 20 seconds. And if you are also a grandmother, have you given that over to your grandchildren, that they are so loved, that they are the Ben Yachid? Okay? You know, Rosalie, Corinne, Dorit, if you want to include on the chat how you feel about this question, feel free to do that.
I love my brother more.
Oh, yeah, right. He loved my brother more. This is something we have to literally erase from our self-perception. And all of us have it. Dorit says yes. I'm so happy for you, Dorit. Someone once asked me, Goldie, how do you have so much confidence? I said, because my father loved me more than anything in the world. And I'm one of 10. And you speak to my siblings, they all say the same thing.
Right.
I always tell them, you're my favorite. And then the next one, I'm like, don't say anything, but you're my favorite.
Yeah.
Don't say anything, but you're my favorite.
Right. We were just away now in Montenegro, and we were sitting around one night. It was in between, like Shabbos was over and the Lava Malka hadn't started yet, so we had like 2 hours. And there was a lot. So my family, my siblings and I, we went off into a little clutch there in the hotel, and we were just talking about, you know, who was loved the most, and each one of us said why we knew we were the favorite. My parents actually weren't even there. They didn't make it to this wedding. And we came back, I said, do you realize what a good job you did? That we all think, and I don't know if they made it their mission to make us feel that way. It was just, and today life is even more hectic because people today have technology and they're busy with all kinds of things. And someone says, when my children are happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And someone's saying there's nothing like love for children and grandchildren, right?
When they do go to school in the morning, it's just a rush.
It's a rush.
You know, I always say, have a good day, love you, but maybe we should do more.
Yeah, because I find that when people say love you, it's very like, love you, pick up the garbage. It's the same tone.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't say that. Sometimes it's like, okay, bye.
Yeah. So this is why we learn Tanya. Because it keeps us reminding us of what our gift is as a child of Hashem and how much responsibility we have to give to others. You know, the story about this young university student who was taking his exam. It was the final exam. And everyone piled into the big hall. There must have been like 500 students. And everyone was taking tests. They knew they had 2 hours to write the exam, finish their essay, and hand it in. And one student came in a little bit late. And as he comes running in, he quickly sits down in the back and starts writing. And then like 15 minutes later, there's the gong. The test is over. Put down your pens. You have to hand in your test. And everyone rushes up and hands in the test. And the pile is growing. And this young man is still writing because he came in late. And he sees the professor who yells, "Who are you? How dare you keep writing? I'm not accepting your paper." So the boy knows this is his final mark for the whole, he can possibly lose his whole career. So he walks up slowly towards the professor and he says, "Do you know who I am?" So the professor says, "Do I know who you are? I don't care who you are. You're late. You are not giving me your paper." And he goes closer. And he says, "You recognize me? Do you know my name?" And the professor looks at him, "How dare you? I don't know your name. I don't recognize you. But how dare you even ask? You are late and your paper is disqualified." He gets right to the desk. He says, "Do you know me? Do you know my name? Do you know who I am?" He says, "I don't care who you are. I said there's 2 hours and you came late." The boy took the test, stuck it in between the pile of 500, goes, "Have a nice day." The question is like this. Does your child know that we know his name? And I don't mean their name. Is their name Yaakov, David, Moshe, Chaim, Rivka, Chana, Rachel, Debbie, Joanne, Alex? I'm saying, do they know? Do we know their Chelek Elokah? Do we know their name equaling value? So when our child walks into an exam and he says to the professor, do you know my name? He's not saying, do you know my name? He goes, do you know who I am? Do you know what I'm capable of? Do you know what my strengths are? Do you also know what my challenges are? And my challenges equal my strengths, because Hashem gives us a strength for each challenge that we have. You know, the way we teach, the way Chabad teaches Aleph Beis is very different than anyone else. I don't know if people know this. There are ways to teach the Hebrew alphabet, and then there's the Chabad way. And the Chabad way was taught to us by the Alter Rebbe. I'm going to just give you an example. There are many books written on the Kabbalah of the Aleph, and the Aleph Beis. In fact, my brother-in-law, Rabbi Raskin, wrote a beautiful book. You might want to pick it up. We actually might have it here in the library. It's the Kabbalistic insight into each letter, that each letter has, even the shape gives us insight into the meaning of each letter. That's why Hebrew is not called just Hebrew, it's called Lashon Kodesh, the holy tongue. Because when Hashem created the world, we're told Hashem created the world using the Aleph Beis, and each letter has a meaning and emanates strength, blessing, and direction. So for example, the Aleph, that's why there are some books. I know when I taught in the yeshiva, in a non-Chabad yeshiva in New York, they gave us a book that taught us the Hebrew alphabet based on phonetics, on how it's easy to say, to sound, and to put together. But in Chabad, the Alter Rebbe's direction is we start with Aleph, and each letter is taught by the letter, not by the name. Like, this is no, it's an Aleph. This is a B, no, it's a Beis or a Bet. There's meaning into the actual word. Now, if you know the letter Aleph, I wanted to bring it here. The letter Aleph is a very beautiful letter. I'm going to show it to you here. So look at the Aleph. It might be backwards over there. You see the Aleph? It has a little Yud on top and a little Yud on the bottom and a stick that goes through and connects the above. And what does the Alter Rebbe say? The Alter Rebbe says that little Yud on top is Hashem. Hashem's name is Yud Yud. The little Yud on the bottom is Yisrael, the Jews. And the line in middle, that is the Yirah Shamayim. The Kav in the middle, that's the Yirah Shamayim. That's the awe and love and respect we have Hashem. That connects us together. That's one. Yeah, if you know Aleph, teach Aleph. Exactly. So the Aleph is what tells us who we are. We are what? Connected to Hashem. I'm never walking alone, like the story of the Baal Shem Tov. He was an orphan at a young age. After, the first thing his father, never fear anything but God. And if you know anything about the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Chassidus, we're told that he actually used to walk in the woods and sit and study. Before he was recognized and celebrated as the great Baal Shem Tov, he was a kid who didn't have parents, like a loser. No one knew his strength. And he was like this poor child, always walking around aimlessly in the woods. Poor kid, no one cares for him. The Baal Shem Tov was raised with this awareness, nothing to fear but God. And he would sit in the forest even as it got dark, but he was never scared. Why? Because when you know you are part and parcel of Hashem, what is there to be scared of? So it's meditating on this Aleph every day. I am a piece of Hashem. I'm a chelik elokah. I am connected to Hashem through my love of Hashem. My child has that Aleph. You, Kinderlach, you have the Aleph. Recognizing their strength. And, people are asking us, Tamim Academy, we're adding 2 classes next year. And we're expanding the school. And Baruch Hashem registration is really, really coming in. And people are saying, well, what's Tamim Academy different than other schools? There are other Jewish day schools. We're open for children who have gone off to public school or gone off to very secular Jewish schools. What is the difference with our school? So our school is an academy called Tamim, But we are Chabad inspired, which means that we infuse this inherent love into each child, that they should feel that they are special, they are unique, they are beloved. How many children go to school literally with their tails between their legs? Their mom and dad had a fight that morning. They went to school without a lunch. There was, TVs blasting in their room. They forgot their homework. They're being bullied in school. There's a lot of baggage that comes into school every morning. But when a child is infused from home with the Aleph, and when he gets to school, it doesn't end there. The teacher that welcomes the child into school knows this child is a chelik elokah. This is Chassidus. This is what makes Tamim Academy stand out. We are based on Hasidic philosophy, which focuses on the godless, on the greatness of every child, no matter their strengths or weaknesses. Tamim, and you don't have to believe me. Sarah Magid, hi Sarah. Actually, Sarah, you joined the concert a few days ago, and you saw, and you and a few of your friends were there, and you said to me, there's something special about these children. They stood up on stage, almost 40 of them. And remember, we're only getting into our second year of school, with confidence of Harvard. I'm not going to even say the name Harvard, of university students, mature adults. They were such confidence, and you saw the love that the teachers gave through every kid. And there are children that have special needs all over the place. They are celebrated. That is also what Torah Tats stands for. Torah Tats celebrates each child. Today I got a great regards. I had a mom drop off her kid, and her older one went up to Cheder this year, Cheder Chabad, and the teacher said to this mother 2 nights ago at the parent-teacher interview, she says, tell me, which school did your kid go to before you came to us? And she says, why are you asking? Just tell me. She goes, Torah Tats. She goes, he is the most advanced child in the Aleph Beis and in his understanding of his Hebrew alphabet. Now, that's a Cheder Chabad. It's a very, very good school. But I know that one of the things that we focus on, and my teachers know, is emotional well-being, giving the child understanding that they are loved by Hashem, and they are loved by their mothers and loved by their parents. And once a child has emotional well-being, then you can start with literacy, math, social studies, history. You can do that. But the grounding first is knowing that every single child is special. They say, what is the meaning of a genius? What's the meaning of a genius? If you say your child is a genius, what does that mean? It means that it's an average child who has a Jewish mother. Each one of us has to know that our children is a genius. If they were created by Hashem, it's because they have something spectacular and special that they have to share with the world. And because every Jew is a Ben Yachid, we treat them that way. So, there's some children come from homes where you know that they're very celebrated. And they walk in with a certain confidence. Immediately, everyone around them treats them the same way. You know that child expects to be treated special. That's how our children should feel. They should feel that they're loved so much by you that wherever they go, kamayim hapanim alpanim, they're going to receive the same connectivity, the same respect, because that's what they've been raised with. So raising our children with that love, that you are the Ben Yachid, you are an only child, and we have to make sure that we see that, and we make sure that the child sees that. We have to see the real source. What's the real source? Their neshama. It's something powerful that Tanya teaches us. It's like, what did Tanya teach us? This. Every single child is a Ben Yachid. Your source is your neshama, your beautiful neshama. And it allows us to instill this into every single child. I remember sitting at a Farbrengen. I must have been a teenager, maybe 17 years old. And the Rebbe got very, very, very emotional. That there was a so-called leader in Israel, and he was a leader for his students. He was a leader. But he spent his time bashing the secular Jews in Israel. And this rabbi, interestingly enough, used to bash the Rebbe all the time. When the Rebbe started out mitzvah tefillin, he said, "How dare you bring tefillin to secular Jews who didn't even wash their hands in the morning? You're putting on tefillin on someone who's wearing a tattoo." And the Rebbe always ignored it. But that one week, this rabbi actually spoke against the Jewish people. He spoke against secular Jews. So the Rebbe said, when he speaks against me, I dismiss it. But when he attacks the Eibishter's Ben Yachid, imagine the words the Rebbe was using. When this man is attacking God's only child, that already I can't handle. That already I'm not going to ignore. And the Rebbe spoke out. And the message was sent back to that person. Just that he should know that there is a lover of the Jewish people living in Brooklyn. He wasn't going to let anyone schmutz the Jews. Today, with all of our soldiers out on war, and we know so many of them are coming closer. And it's not that they're coming closer because they're scared. They're coming closer because they're getting this love. Jews are putting on tefillin with them. Jews are davening for them. Jews are sending tzitzis. Jews are giving tzedakah. They feel it. They feel like they are a Ben Yachid. And that image of me being a Ben Yachid allows me to get out onto the battlefield with tremendous. I saw a video clip that one of my friends sent me. Her husband is in Israel now. He came with a lot of money and a lot of gifts, and he made a farbrengen because this Sunday was Hey Tavis. That's the day that was a very big victory for Chabad, because there were some people who were trying to steal the Sfarim, the Rebbe's books, which belonged to all the generations of Rebbe's. And on that day, on the 5th of Tavis, the judge made a ruling that the books belong to the Rebbe because the Rebbe belongs to Hasidim. That was something that the Rebbetzin, Chaim Mushka, she was called to a deposition. Imagine, they called her to court, and they said, do the Sfarim, do these holy books belong to you, or they belong to Hasidim? And she says, the Sfarim belong to my husband, but my husband belongs to the Hasidim. So this awareness is what the soldiers feel today. So this young Chabad rabbi made a farbrengen, got all the soldiers, there must have been 150 of them, and he explained to them, Hey Tavis means what? Anybody know? What was the miracle of Hey Tavis? There was a coin, there was a word that was coined for this holiday. Starts with a Dalet. If you know what it is, put it down in the comments. There was a song that they were singing all the way up until the final court case. And when they won the court case, they sang and danced this song for 3 days. Di dan natzach, ay 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 ay. Di dan natzach means we won. And this is what he was telling the soldiers. He said, don't go out and say we will win. Go out with the optimism. Di dan natzach, you won. When you go out as a Ben Yachid, when you walk out with confidence. By the way, let's say something that's very, very serious. And this is something that every single mother must hear. When we talk about rapists and molesters and even murderers, Rahman al-Islam, who do they try to prey on? They prey on the weak. They understand body language. When you walk into school or you walk into a shopping center and you look with your head down or your shoulders down, you can see your visuals give away. Are you a strong, confident child that has parents behind you? You have strength. You know how to deal with, God forbid, pedophiles? Or are you a weakling that you're vulnerable? Body language. So when we tell our children, you are a Ben Yachid, when we tell our children, you are the one and only, my one and only, because you are Hashem's one and only, do you know the message you're sending your child? It's like walking like this or walking like this. Head up, chin up, shoulders up. It's not a silly confidence. It's an inner confidence. I am walking around with chelik l'kami mal mamash. And we understand this, we understand the value, and we share it with our children. The ability for us, by the way, being in Golos over 3,500 years, downtrodden, beaten and abused and evacuated and exiled, we still walk around like the Ben Yachid. You would think, what's with the Jews? I just saw something really, really interesting. There was a philosopher, a German chancellor who lived in the early 1800s. His name was, I don't want to forget his name. His name was Bismarck. Can't remember. I wrote his name now. Yeah, Otto von Bismarck. He was a German chancellor in the early 1800s. And he was having a conversation with Frederick the Great, a philosopher. And Frederick the Great one of them said to the other, tell me there's a God without saying any word from scriptures. So I don't want you to quote the Bible. Bismarck, that's right, Susan. Oh, wait, one second. Marlene, please say a prayer for my sister. She's in a coma. Marlene, please put down your sister's Jewish name and your mother's Jewish name. And we are going to concentrate on her for a few seconds to send her the energy of Refuah Shlema. So Bismarck and... Hi, Susan. So Susan, tell me, was it Bismarck asked Frederick or did Frederick ask Bismarck? Anyway, it was a conversation with the two of them. Prove to me that there's a God in one word without using words from the scriptures. And I think Bismarck was one that said, the Jews. The Jews! That's the proof there's a God. The Jews. Refuah Shlema to Moshe David Natan ben Rachel. Moshe David is a man's name. You said it's your sister in a coma? So give us the right name. Oh, that's Francis Goldstein. Okay, Refuah Shlema for Moshe David. Okay, absolutely, Francis. So I think this says it all. Now, Bismarck was not a friend of the Jews, and I'm sure it was neither Frederick the Great. But, thank you, Francis. But that awareness that the world recognizes there's a God in the world because of us. When we walk around as the Ben Yachid, when we walk around with that feeling of we have a chelik alakai, we have a purpose in the world. Eretz Yisrael has a purpose. Israel's going nowhere. The jihadists and the Islamists and the terrorists and Hamas, they're going to be gone. Like every other culture that tried to start up with us. But even this anti-Semite, who I understand Bismarck he was from the German Prussian Empire, they know something that we have to tell our children. We are very special. We are very unique. We are very godly. But the key is the godliness. We have to act like Jews. So it's very nice our children have confidence, but they have to know the confidence in what? Confidence in being Hashem's ambassador. We are Hashem's arm here in the world. We have to bring Hashem's message. We can't just walk around saying, I'm a Jew, celebrate me. We're a great person if we recognize that we are the Chelik Elokah and that we are here to express that Hashem is eternal, the Jew is eternal, the Torah is eternal. And just like when we look at a brand new baby, I was just in Texas last week, I couldn't stop kissing up my grandchildren, Razel and Pesya. And you look at them, Razel's Kanai like maybe 18 months, Pesya is 3 months. They haven't accomplished yet big things. Their mother and father have, wow, what Mendy and Mishka have done there, Kanai with their communities, with the hundreds that show up for Hanukkah parties and drinks and dreidels with over 300 young professionals. And in the Shabbos meal, in their little house, they packed in 30, it was mind-boggling. I had the most incredible time. But I'm looking at my 2 grandchildren and the love I have for them, and they didn't do anything. They just smile. They pee and poo in their diaper. And we love them. Why do we love them? Just because of who they are. So the message today is this. Mechana, Basfreda, every one of them should have, every single person that was mentioned here today, that Chana should come out of her coma quickly as speedy as possible. And may Hashem bless her because she has a chelik alakah. And Marlene, I want to ask you to do an extra mitzvah for her today. Make sure you give tzedakah, and when you finish this class, open a siddur and just read Tehillim for 15 minutes. Every one of us should be saying extra Tehillim. Just keep it on your desk, keep it in your car. Just keep it. Like, this is what we have to do. We know that every single soldier, every Jew is a chelik alakah, and we know Hashem is going to save us very, very quickly, very swiftly. We're waiting to see big miracles, like that great miracle that happened last week when that Iraqi minister stood up and was cursing the Jews, and then he had a heart attack and he died. Woo! Sorry about that. We know Hashem says those who bless the Jews will be blessed, and those who cursed are. It's very interesting. I saw a very interesting explanation. Those who bless the Jews will be blessed, but those who curse the Jews are. I will curse, but in the word ar is the word or, light. Through our light, we will teach the non-Jew who we are, what is our mission, and that they are part of our mission. Every non-Jew in this world is part of God's mission. So they think they will curse us, but they will see that our light is a light unto the nations. They are here to teach compassion and godliness and truth and honesty. They will pick up on it. And when Mashiach comes, everybody. My secretary asked me last week, you keep talking about Mashiach. And she's not Jewish. She goes, what's going to happen to me when Mashiach comes? I said to her, Esther, Mashiach comes, you have responsibility like we do. You have the 7 Noachide laws. And that's going to be your mission. You are going to be part and parcel of God's creation. He created you and He loves you. It's those people that are antithesis to godliness that Hashem has a problem with. And let's hope by next Tuesday, by our next class, Mashiach is here. And I will be speaking to you live from the Kotel. Take care. Have a great day.